Manchester United. One time they're going to get one as well as Green. And a goal! Oh, Jimmy Greaves has done it.
Better at this football club. There's a huge difference between being negative and being realistic. I just don't agree with you. You're totally wrong in my opinion. We're doing it again. We're getting carried away far too quickly.
Yes, good evening. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Feels quite strange. I've not streamed all weekend. I think that's the longest I've been for a long, long time. Welcome to Iggy and Stel from Tottenham away. And Jack is back from Spurs related. How are we doing, gentlemen? How is everyone?
Doing well. Well, happy to be here.
Good, good. Love the enthusiasm. Love it. Good, good, good. Start as you mean to go on, lads. Start as you mean to go on. Listen, a lot to talk about today. We haven't played, but a lot is happening at Tottenham Hotspur. We have seen Perisic has gone home. Lots of talk about Højbjerg, Nusa. Apparently, Nusa is coming in. The Norwegian Lionel Messi, some are referring to him as. We'll start talking about him. We've got Man City in the FA Cup. We're 8 points off the top of the table. I want to know if people are still talking about title challenges. 8 points off the top of the table. And after all of that, there's still 10 days of the transfer window left to go. So what else will happen? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Listen, I'm going to start with you, Iggy. Always a voice of reason, depending on who's listening. Iggy, Tottenham, the big news this week. Let's start with Nusa. Plays for Club Bruges, 18 years of age, very exciting young winger. Everyone getting their knickers in a twist about this signing. What do you know of him? How excited are you? Are we going to get carried away like we normally do? What's going to happen with Nusa if he joins Tottenham Hotspur?
It's a typical Spurs sort of kind of player that we go for, you know, someone that's not quite finished, the finished article that is, and one that could be, you know, potential now, one for the future, etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about. It'd just be nice to bring in some ready-made players now that could really impact, not just from a technical point of view, but also from like an experience. You know, it's like someone who can really add a sense of leadership, because I feel sometimes the team does lack a bit of leadership, particularly in the middle of the park. And I just would like to have a ready-made player coming through. I'm not knocking Nusa. I don't know too much about him. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know, and I look forward to hearing you guys if what you guys make of him. But I don't know, man. It's just always, you know, young kid coming into the Premier League. He's never played at the highest level before. He'll either hit the ground running or not. I don't know. But is he somebody that can impact the Spurs world straight away and help us to go to that next level? I don't know, man. That's where I'm at. That's why I mean, I want something a bit ready, like ready now. Someone who's affirmed in the world of football.
Yeah, yeah. Look, it's very, very interesting. I mean, Jack, let me come to you before I get Stell's thoughts on this. Look, I've seen him play a couple of times. I've seen him play once for Club Bruges and a couple of times in a Norway shirt. Young, very skillful, very raw, like most 18-year-olds, unless you are Rooney, Messi, those levels, you know, young and raw. Lots of people getting very, very excited about this. I'm going to position it like this, Jack. I think this is a great signing, as long as alongside it, we are buying for the now as well. How do you picture this?
Totally agree. I think it could be an extremely smart signing. We saw when we signed Sara and Udoji, they've probably been one of our best signings under Paratici, and they've absolutely thrived in this Postecoglou system. But then to kind of rely on Nusa would kind of be naive, because realistically, you want to combat that with a bit of experience. And as we know, I think I suppose Richarlison may not be the answer. So we may move Son centrally and Nusa plays off the left. But you'd want to bring in someone of a high caliber, maybe like a Neto as well, where you've got someone at that level, but Nusa can still show his ability as well. So for me, for 30 million euros in the summer, we should still be looking to have someone of that experience and kind of played at that level already that he wants to get to. But for me, it's definitely a great signing to make, and I'll be excited if he comes in.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't disagree with you. I mean, still, there's obviously a number of ways of looking at this, right? Like, if we're looking at it on its own, it's a good signing. It's a, let's put it in the bracket over here. Let's talk about buckets. We'll put it in the bucket of, hey, this is exciting for the future. How many more it's exciting for the future signings can we make before we go, that bucket's full? How about the bucket for, let's close the gap on Man City and Liverpool? We're going to do that a bit later, but how many more before that bucket needs to start filling up as well?
Yeah. First of all, big up to Iggy, Savva, and Jack. Good to be on the show with you guys. Big up to everyone in the chat. Morning, afternoon, evening, whatever part of the world you join us from. Look, I've got my views and I've got my opinions. Sometimes people love them. Sometimes people hate them. I don't hold back. I'm a straight talker, and that's not for everyone. I appreciate it.
It's why you're here. It's why you're here.
It's why I'm here, people. It's why I'm here. Right. I might not get everything right, and I might not always talk sense in some people's eyes. But if there's one thing I know better than anybody on YouTube in this Spurs community, I don't care, is youth football. I've been doing it for 12 years. 4-year-olds to 21-year-olds. He's 18 years old, people. He is 18 years old. Relax. Don't message me saying, oh, but Rooney was 16. Rooney was a complete anomaly. Messi was a complete anomaly. If this guy was Messi or Rooney, every top club in Europe would have signed him by now. Let's just have that straight. He's 18 years old. He looks like a really good dribbler against what level of competition? Has he ever played up against consistent high-level competition? No, he hasn't. We don't know if he's going to turn out to be the next Bale. We don't know if he's going to turn out to be the next Jack Clark. We have no idea. He's 18. He's a club prospect, one for the future. Maybe by 19, he hits the ground running. Maybe he needs until 2021. What players are we going to sign that he's going to replace? Will he even get into the squad if we sign some established players? No idea. So when it comes to Antonio Nusa, he's 18 years old. And our fan base, what I think is happening at the moment is we're so starved of good football. We're so starved of glory. We're so starved of success. We've forgotten what that all looks like and feels like. As soon as we see a bit of good football and we're in a top 4 race, we've got our Tottenham back. I don't even know what that means. Look at the way we're behaving. Seen it under Redknapp, seen it under Poch, seen it under Martin Yole. I even saw it under Conte. He got us top 4. For me, it's just another kid we're signing, and that's it. Wait and see. I'm adamant, unless we start signing a couple of elite players, I'm talking about Vlahovic, Chiesa, Kvaratskhelia, not Mbappe, not De Bruyne. We're not going to get them. Chiesa, Vlahovic, Kvaratskhelia level players. We won't push on above just being that top 4 challenger and the occasional good cup run. Yes, Maddison is proven. He won an FA Cup. He's a good player. Sign another 3 Maddisons then. I'm cool with that. But when I hear Brennan Johnson's, Timo Werner's, Nusa's and Phillips, let's not make out we know what any of them are going to be like, because we don't. With Maddison, we knew what we were getting. We knew what was coming to this club. So that's what I want. I want players that come to this club where we know exactly what to expect and we're excited by it. It's still a risk. It still might be risky because they might not settle to the English game, or they might just not like it here. That can happen. But it's a risk worth taking that we don't often take. So for me, Savva, Nusa, he's 18. That's it. And unless we start signing what you call stardust, stardust. But I don't see us pushing on from being anything more than a top 4 club. That's my view.
Yeah, it's interesting. Listen, Iggy, I want to blend that. I'll say, Iggy, look, we'll have a general chat. I don't want to seem like I'm at school and people have got to put their hands up and talk and stuff. Look, guys, one of the key things I talk about a lot is sprinkling that stardust. And I'm not saying it has to be right this window, but I do truly believe that if we want to close the gap, and I will start with you, Iggy, if you want to close the gap, that gap at the moment is very much to Manchester City and Liverpool. I think the rest is a bit of a muchness. I think Man City and Liverpool have got by far the best squads. You saw today, Liverpool had 9 first-team players out, either injured, suspended, or at the AFCON, and looked formidable. Right? They don't miss Mo Salah. They just don't miss him. They've got goal scorers. That's the difference for me, Iggy. Bringing in a Nusa, I'm all for it. But if you want to compete with those clubs, you've got to have forward lines like these other 2 clubs, surely, don't we? Isn't that what we've got to strive for alongside him?
If we're talking about Liverpool, first half they might have not been up to the level, perhaps, but second half they dealt with him, absolutely destroyed them. The chances every time. This is the thing. Every time they attack, they look like they were going to hurt them.
Exactly.
And we it's just like we don't. If we want to bring Spurs into it, we don't have that same sort of outlet. We don't look like we're going to absolutely hurt teams every time we attack, and that comes down to those players that have just proved, like, you know, over like Jota, and Darwin Núñez, for all the critics that he takes, he's always a live wire for me.
I love him. I'll be honest, I love him.
He's so good on the left-hand side. He looks even more dangerous in that. So it's like pointed arrows, aren't they, when they're attacked? Yeah, and they look like they're going to hurt on the right, on the left, in the middle. The movement of the ball in that final third is so good, like proper elite level. And you're right, with them and Man City. We know what's there to say about Man City that haven't been said over the last few years. That's the kind of level. But to do that at that level, you need to go for. This is what I'm saying. Players that are firmed, players like, you know, they got Diogo Jota, who had been doing it in the Premier League as well. So, you know, these are firmed level players, and when you get them, you're almost buzzing about it. And now I have no. I said earlier, I don't have any problem with players such as what's his name, Nusa? Did he say
Nusa? Yeah, Nusa.
Nusa coming in, as long as then we accompany them with players who have done it. Then you can see that, you know what, we are doing the right mix. And at the moment, our squad not only doesn't seem complete, it doesn't seem. It's almost like we're going to one way with his young and you know, hope to affirm them in a few years' time. We need to get a mix with a right blend, and like Stel said, players who have like Maddison. I'll have another 2-3 players, Maddison level players. Man, we'd have a good season. We may still not be to the Liverpool Man City heights, but then, you know, the next one down the line will be there, and that's what you want. And it doesn't seem that we're not getting those players in. We don't look we're even interested in getting those players in, at least from what we hear coming out of the Tottenham world.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, it's interesting, isn't it? Because listen, I'm not saying I don't like what's going on. By the way, I'm all for signing an Antonio Nusa.
It's additions, add on to what we're doing. That's all I'm asking.
Absolutely. I just feel like we talk about wanting to close that gap. And for me, I feel like we've massively closed the gap to the teams that were above us in terms of If you want to say Villa, who were brothers last year, but I think it was by 1 point. If you want to say Newcastle, if you want to say Chelsea, if you want to say Man United, even Arsenal, we don't know at the moment, but even Arsenal, that gap's being closed in whatever way. But can we keep doing this buying young? Because that's now Valise, Phillips, Brennan Johnson, Solomon, Nusa, who we're after. At what point for you, Jack, does it need to be no more screaming for 18-year-olds and actually go, right, let's go and get an established pro from the Premier League or you know, like Liverpool have done with players like Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo and these sorts of players?
100%. I think we alluded to it earlier. As long as you're bringing in that ready-made talent, someone with their experience and combating that with youth, then that's absolutely fine. But in the summer, I believe we weren't quite at the level to kind of attract the players we're talking about now. But luckily, Postecoglou and the football we've been playing is probably going to start attracting the players like we're talking about, like Chiesa. I think Kvaratskhelia is also a player that I'd love to see at Spurs. We almost spoke about someone who can slow the game down, have that final pass and have the end quality. For me, he'd be someone that would really bring that Tottenham side closer to the likes of Man City and Liverpool. But I think we're starting to get it right. Yes, we're not the final product. We're not going to get every decision right. But we have brought in Dragoshin nice and early. Werner, yes, he's not the high-profile signing that we'd love to see. But in January, it's hard to do good business. A lot of top clubs aren't willing to sell their signings. But we've kind of tried to identify the problems. But I feel like the summer is where we can kind of bring in those names that we're talking about. And that's when we can really judge and say, are we moving forward as a football club? And are we identifying where we've gone wrong in the past?
Look, do you know what, Stel? I love Jack's reasoning. The problem is we've heard that reasoning for many years when we've gone into the summer. We can't attract the best players. Now we're in a position to attract them, and then we never seem to. Is this summer going to be the summer that's different? And does it depend on us getting top four? And I'm not talking about dropping in Antonio Nusas. I'm talking about, like Iggy said, going and get like Diogo Jota. What a signing that was for Liverpool. This guy, every time I watch him play, you go, how much do you pay for him? 45 million? 40 million? That's the sort of player we need still, those sorts of players. So will it be different this summer?
Yeah, I actually don't agree with Jack on this one, respectfully, of course. I think you can attract good players in January if you have the ambition to do it. Diaz joined Liverpool. They signed him in January. We signed Bentancur, Kulusevski and Porro. Bentancur and Porro have turned out to be excellent for Spurs. We attracted them in January. That's the whole point of having a scouting department, to find those top players that you can get in January. So I think it's just become like a national kind of excuse across all fan bases. Oh, it's hard to do business in January. I think clubs decide whether it's hard or not. We couldn't get Pedro Porro over the line. Levy got involved, took over the deal, whacked some discounts with Marcus Edwards for Sporting Lisbon. He got Porro over. He was under pressure. If he didn't sign him, all hell was going to break loose at the club. So I do think you can sign good players in January. It's how hard and how much the club want to do it.
Wasn't Virgil van Dijk bought in January?
Yeah, they signed him in January.
And Virgil van Dijk is considered as the reason as to what the difference was between Liverpool sprinkling the stardust and winning a title.
I said this in last week's show. There's two types of player. There's two types of ways you can sign a player in January.
By the way, I don't think you can sign 5 top players in January.
No.
I kind of agree with Jack. I don't think you can sign
player.
I think that's
you sign them for 2 reasons. One of them is because the player's not getting game time and he's willing to move at any possible way. If even more so, if he's guaranteed to almost play certainly a lot more than what he is at the current club. Or secondly, you pay over the odds. Van Dijk was paid over the odds, so they made him an offer you couldn't refuse. Essentially, we are not that club, but we go to a club and say we're making you an offer you can't refuse. Like Genoa agreed. That's the money they wanted. Essentially. We gave the money that Genoa wanted. They couldn't refuse that. That's why we got the player in. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come. And Werner wasn't playing at his club, so he's come to a team where he would have been playing.
And he's free, Iggy. He's free.
Yeah, exactly. A 27, 28, 29-year-old. One that really wants to he'll come to Spurs. An affirmed player will come to Spurs for 2 reasons. One reason, certainly the biggest reason, if it's a Premier League window where he can come to Spurs and perhaps then move on to the next club, but it puts him out there in the Premier League window. But for me, the reason why is they should want to come to Spurs because they have a genuine belief that we are a club going places. And when I mean club going places, a club that's going to win within the
Iggy,
within the time frame of his age. Otherwise, Sab, still a 27, 28-year-old ain't going to come if he's been told we're going to win in 5 years' time. He ain't going to be around for that.
That comes from the board though. Because we had Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte. Forget the football they played. Forget what fans thought of them. If they can't attract high quality talent, Ange isn't going to do that. Let's get that out of our heads, right? He'll attract some gems, no doubt, but the big signings won't come to Spurs because Ange is here and we're playing nice football. They'll come because they look at Spurs and they say, "You want to win the league." Let me take you back to when Man City became this club that they are now, right? When Sheikh Mansour took over Man City, they made a public announcement. We are buying Man City. We are going to try and win the Premier League in the next 3 to 5 years. That is a statement of intent. We want to win the league. Now, you might believe it or not, but when Man City goes in and spends money on players, gives them wages, those players are like Robinho, one of the early superstars that went there. He's thinking, you want to win the league. I'm up for that. We don't do that. Spurs never say, come to us, we want to win the league. We want to lift a European trophy. You never hear us say that. So for me, this whole purpose of being able to attract players, I think stems from telling people, this is what we want to do. This is why you should come here. But we never do that. We never go out there and speak with a statement of intent. And then we wonder why we don't make signings that are a statement of intent. So I think that's interlinked because Man City were a nothing club. They were nothing. How did they attract the players other than spending money? It wasn't just pure money. People had to believe that they were going to do something, and they did. They delivered on what they said. Now they might get done for cheating, and if so, good. If they've been caught cheating, then so be it. But the fact they attracted the talent is because even Chelsea, we want to win the lot, right? And Spurs and Levy never do that. They never go out there and tell the world. Like if you look at all his statements he makes in the summer every year, it's always like, we're ambitious. We want to develop this. He never says, I want to win the Premier League. I want us to try and win a European trophy. He never says that. He never ever mentions winning trophies. He never says that. And I think that's something that agents, players, rivals, they look at it and they think, what do you lot at Spurs actually want? Like, what is it you want as a club? I mean, give your answer. What is it our club wants?
No,
I can answer that.
I agree with what you're saying, and especially about the ambition. But the only difference I would say is with Chelsea and Man City, they had the money just to chuck at them and say, if we make 6 signings, we pay over the odds, like Iggy was saying, we're going to be 3 or 4 of these players are probably going to turn good. If we're being honest, I don't think Spurs and Levy have the money to kind of waste on it potentially going wrong. And I don't think it's not because they want to have that ambition, but they wouldn't be able to sustainably run the football club with and keep wasting money. I like what you say about saying bring these players in and say we want to win the league, we want to win the FA Cup. But this could be empty words to the players if we're not matching the likes of Man City and Chelsea and kind of throwing our cash at.
Yeah, but Charlie, Arsenal have spent £700 million in 4 years. In 2 of those years, they had no Europe. They've only just got into Champions League.
Charlie?
Charlie.
I look like a Charlie.
Welcome to the 5th member of the panel who just
arrived.
You
remind me of the guy from the old school Willy Wonka chocolate factory, Charlie.
Okay, Charlie. Right, mate.
No, but do you know what I mean? Arsenal managed to still attract players like Aubameyang and Ozils and good players when they weren't in Champions League. So I do think there is a sense of ambition from higher up that needs to be almost marketed to the world. Like, we mean business. Like, we've built this stadium, we've built this academy, we've built this training facility. We are the FFP Kings, all because we want to win the Premier League and do it the right way. But they don't say stuff like that. And I just wonder, how much can a manager do to attract players without the people above saying, we mean business now. We're going to go for it. And I don't know, look, it's just me thinking aloud on it because I've never heard us say it, but I've heard other clubs talk like that.
I've spoken to a few mates of mine, and I always like to swap ideas. Like some of them from the Italian league and stuff like that. And I always say, look, man, sometimes we're talking about Premier League and just feed off each other. And one of the things, and I say to them, how do you guys see Tottenham? Because obviously, sometimes when you're immersed in that world so much, you don't have the eyes of how the outsiders looking in to see Tottenham. And a lot of the guys say, look, man, they've always been a club that play good football, more exceptionally, but generally, historically, a team that plays good football. And they're stable in the Premier League, in that top 6. So any player looking to come into the Premier League, if Spurs are interested in him, it's like that's a good starting point. Go there, try and get in the team, play good football, but then
join Real Madrid.
Look to move on. No, but it's a spring. It's almost looked like a stepping stone to move to those Man City, Liverpools, and the teams at Chelsea, the teams that challenge for the league. They're not that team. They're always seen as that team that get yourself out there, get yourself known, get yourself popular, let everyone talk about you, then move on to the next step. We will never, ever, ever break that mindset of an outsider fan looking in until we set the tone, and we don't look like we're gonna do that anytime soon. But that's the reality of it. I think we're doing well. I think we are doing very well. I'm very happy with what I've seen this season. There's no two ways about that. I like the fact that we've got Maddison. All right, let me ask you this: there's some of the players like Maddison, Romero, Van der Ven. They've come to the Premier League, especially like the likes of Van der Ven, who has the potential to become Jan Vertonghen even better, right? You think the player's ambition, if Spurs' ambition doesn't match what Van der Ven sees in the next 3-4 years, do you think he'll stay at Spurs, or do you reckon he'll move on to the Man City? So this is what we're talking about. And that's what
the big moment, isn't it, Iggy?
Exactly. We should want a Van der Ven to stay with us and aspire to those things with us. But if we don't show them,
you can attract them. When you can attract a Van der Ven at 22 years of age from Germany, you can attract a Romero from
the stepping stone I'm talking about. The stepping stone. They see it, and then it's like if we don't then give him what he aspires for, which he'll be a top defender, and he'll be up there, certainly in the Premier League. He's then got to say, I want to win the league now. I'm seeing Man City doing. Well, what happened to Kyle Walker? I'm seeing them doing. I want to get a taste of that. That's the. Or are we going to be that team goes, we've done as far as we can with Van der Ven. It's time for him to move on to a greater team. Here comes the next Van der Ven. We got him coming from the Dutch league or whatever league he's coming from.
Iggy, would you say one of the worries that I've got, and I say the worries, listen, I like you, I'm going to caveat this. And first of all, I'm going to say there's over 465 people in here and only 115 likes, which is absolutely shocking. This Levy-type nature seeps down into YouTube watchers. Smash the like button. Please subscribe to Tottenham Away, subscribe to Spurs Related as well, and subscribe to me. I'm just over about 105 away from 13K, so please do smash that button. Iggy, the thing for me with this is what we've seen for many years is we've gone and got some really good players. Like you've got Dele Alli when he's young, you've got Christian Eriksen when he's young, right? We got these types of players, right? Son, we got Son when he was 22, 23, whatever, and it's all well and good. Son being the anomaly, all the others eventually went. All the others eventually went. Even if you look back to we got Gareth Bale when he was very young. We got Michael Carrick when he was very young. Robbie Keane when
stepping stones, mate.
Stepping stones.
Danny Rose, Carl Walker.
For me, it's all about how do we ensure that this time isn't the same, so that we don't get 2 years down the line and everyone believes that all of these players are going to stay together for the next 5-6 years, because that's a pipe dream. If these players are as good as we think they are, when people are saying, oh, Udogie, the best left back in the league. Cool. Well, if we say it, if we're all witnessing it, so do all the scouts of the bigger clubs. They see it. They come in and go, excuse me, we'd like to talk to X, Y, Z. Then it starts to fall apart. And this goes back to what Stel was saying at the beginning of the show. He's seen it. One of the names you mentioned, he's seen this under Poch. We've seen this under Poch. When people are losing their mind, going, oh my God, this is the best we've ever seen it. I've seen this before. It's really good. But right now, my mindset is we started doing this under Potter and then stopped. How do we kick on? That's for me. How do we kick on and show these players we mean different this year and we want to be where City are, where Liverpool are? We want that. How do we do that when we just sign 18-year-olds? Not saying we just, but you know what I mean. How do we show Romero right now, Son, Maddison? How do we show them with a signing coming in the summer that they turn around and go, bloody hell, have you seen that's Kraftskelia over there?
Do you remember?
That's Vlahovic over there. I'm watching a bloke right now, by the way, for Girona, who's on fire for the last 3 seasons. Artem Dovbyk, right? Just scored a hat-trick in 6 minutes. These are the players I want to see at my club. Experienced international footballers that have done it year in, year out. How do we do that?
Vlahovic just scored twice again tonight.
Do you remember when Spurs signed Jurgen Klinsmann? Okay. It was just breaking news. Wow. And the entire fan base was in awe. Like, we worshipped him. And all the other players looked at him as, wow, this is a footballer. The same thing happened when we signed Edgar Davids. I remember going to his first game. It was a preseason friendly with against Porto. As soon as Davids touched the ball, everyone was like, oh, because we haven't seen what elite looks like. We don't know what it feels like. If you bring in 2 or 3 players like that, the entire squad raises its level because they're in awe of what is at the club. The fan base, they raise their expectation. Everything raises when you improve the quality of personnel in business, in life. If you surround yourself with a better quality of person, you will be better. So for me, the only way we do it is by bringing in those 2 or 3 players. And then if we still fail, at least people like me will say, I can't blame Levy. I can't blame the board. They've tried. We're just cursed, man. Or the manager just got it wrong on the day, whatever. But I've always got that excuse up my locker. I can point the finger at them. And whilst that's there, the only way you take that away is by bringing in those players. Bring in a Jurgen Klinsmann moment, or a Rafael van der Vaart moment, or Bring 2 or 3 in like that, and I'm telling you, this conversation will be very, very different on every channel. Everyone will be like, "This man, them, wow."
Agreed. Let me ask you all then, Jack. I'll start with you or Charlie. What are we calling you now? Is it Jack or Charlie?
What do you like, mate? Whatever you like.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
sorry about that.
Jack, I'm going to ask. Listen, we are. I know lots of people won't like me saying this, and yes, let people dream. And I think we're miles away from Liverpool, Man City. That's just me. I've said that all season. I've not
mindset, yes, even more so.
I think on the pitch, mindset, squad depth, quality. I think in all of it, Iggy. If we're brutally honest, I think we're quite far behind them. Right? Let's be fair. They can lose.
I agree. They don't. We haven't shown anything. The club hasn't shown. Sarah alluded to it a second ago. The club, we as a club, haven't set a mindset that we're saying we have the genuine aspirations, and this is what we're going to be putting in place, and then saying like little milestones to how we're going to bridge the gap between ourselves and them. At least attempt to try and do it. And these are the milestones we're going to try and achieve the next 3-4 years, and then hitting those targets. Then you as a fan looking in being, all right, Matt, there is a genuine shift, but there isn't. It's not in place.
But that was my point. My point is, I do think we're miles behind these teams. People go, oh, we're not that far. I think we are. I think the fact that we're 8 points off of Liverpool, people who still say to me, we're in a title race. I don't believe anyone is in a title race when you are 8 points behind the team at the top of the table. And it's a 3-game swing. Jack, I'm going to move this conversation to Man City and Liverpool. How far behind them are we? Because we are now in a position where people who want to talk about winning the league. It's never been me, Jack. It's never been me. You boys in the panel all know me. Never thought it was possible. There's 17 games of the season to go. If Liverpool win 12 of their last 17, we have to win 15 to finish above them. That's the points gap they've got on us now. We've got to hope that they lose 3 games and we win 3 games more. So what do we need to do, whether it's now in the summer, what do we have to do to catch Liverpool and Man City?
I think with Liverpool and Man City, we're talking about two of the best Premier League teams we've seen in the past decade, arguably ever. When Man City got that central milestone, you've seen probably some of the best front threes in Liverpool, with Salah, Mane, Roberto Firmino. And they've got two of the best managers in the world with Klopp and Guardiola. They've just installed a mentality that they're just maintaining year on, year out. You know the quality that they have to bring. And they don't care if they won it last year. They're so hungry to do it again. They're going out for blood. They want it every time, and you know what they're going to bring. And I think Spurs, we haven't tasted that yet. We haven't felt like we've ever been in a realistic title race. Even under Pochettino, when we were flying, we had a fantastic squad. Me as a fan personally, I never felt like we were quite at the level. When Chelsea won it and we come second, I felt like they were too strong for us. When Leicester won it, I never felt like we got close enough to say we can do it. So I feel like what needs to change is what we're talking about, is kind of bringing in those high caliber players that have done it, where we're bringing everyone's level up. We've got fantastic players now. I don't think anyone can argue with that, with Udogie, Van der Ven, Maddison, Kulusevski, Son, who is a world-class player. These are brilliant players. If we surround that with people who have done it, people at the level, that top level, like Liverpool and Man City have played at, then there's no reason why we can't get to that caliber. I think we're starting to play the football, but you've got to bring the mentality along with it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Iggy. I know Stel's always used the dark horses. I'm going to ask him about that in a second, just to see if we're still dark horses. But this year, Iggy, realistically, what can we achieve this year? Do you believe we could? Gary Neville said Spurs will finish above Liverpool. I don't know how he's come to that conclusion, but do you believe we can? Do you think we could finish above City or Liverpool this year?
Above City, Liverpool, no. I think this year, for me, the target, and I said it would have been a good season if we somehow managed to go all the way. And I believe that if we knock City out of the FA Cup, we will be amongst the favourites to win that FA Cup. I believe, if we knock out City, and if we can do that and finish top four, I think we've had a good season for year one. That's always been my stance point. I think Champions League spot. But then when I then think about it, that's a good season. If you look at it for what it is, that would definitely be a good season. But for me personally, finishing in the Champions League, it doesn't mean anything to me, Savva, because we've done it before. We finished in the Champions League spots, and then the following season, what do we do with it? What do we do with it? It's great to be in the Champions League. Great nights at Spurs. I've been many Champions League nights, but we've experienced those nights. What is it all about for me, champion? What is it? It's like partaking in something that everyone else fundamentally is going to win it, but us. So it's like a great party, but we're not the main act. We're like the support act. Never the main.
But why do we do this then? Lots of our fans, like we're talking about. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, if we get back into Champions League, great. But why are we hailing? By we, I mean the wider fan base. Why are we why is this different for some people? Why is it that Ange is revered like we've never been in a top four race before? We've never beaten teams like Arsenal and Man City in games before. What is it that's different about this manager that seems to have people talking like we didn't do this under Redknapp, under Poch, under Martin Jol? What's different?
For me, nothing. And look, what Ange has done this season, by the way, if we were to sign those two players, Ruben Neves and Tony, I'll be sitting here with a little bit more like, okay, this is good. This is very, very good. The top players, you're going to have to spend a bit of money on that, but those would be really really good signings. But look, for me, what everyone's gassed about this season is the fact that Ange, after two seasons or two previous managers, Ange is complete opposite, and it's far more attractive to the eye. And he's brought a buzz back into what was. We was just going through them. We were dead. Let's be honest. After Mourinho and Conte, we was dead. Like, where's that? Where do you go with this?
Chucking Levy out balloons on the pitch on match day.
cussing Levy, the players, bang average and just poor and just knitted like dead. We was in them dire straits. What Ange has brought is a level of excitement, clear ideas. He wants to play attacking football. He's improved the players that we've got in. He's done the absolute most that he can do with the players that he's got available. So he's really galvanised the place. Essentially, that's what he's done. And we fed off that. And he's obviously got results. He started off really well. And then and even when with all the difficulties that we've had with player injuries and stuff like that, suspensions, he's still managed to obtain a level of really good results, and we're in a good position at this point in the season. But to do more, which is ultimately what we all want, even the ones that we want to see Spurs kick on. How are you going to do that? But it's like you want to achieve new things, doing it the old way, or doing it the same way we've been doing it in the other year that have obtained us, mid results. You cannot. If you want to do big things, you need to think big. You need to do things big. You can't achieve that high, but then obtain and then still going on. Like we have been the last few years. Why would we obtain something different doing the same old things? I don't know. So I don't know where that mindset comes from. I truly don't. In my opinion, this is the level that we're at. We can this year, because again, Chelsea have been way off. Man United are way off. Those two teams, I believe, will be coming back strong next season. I believe that.
I agree.
Because they will. By hook or buck, they will, because that's where they see them. So I think they will come back strong. Newcastle, I don't know now, man. But they have to sell? I don't know. They're gonna be a little bit mess. But I think these two teams will come back. Liverpool, City will be there. Arsenal will probably chuck another few millions. If they get a number 9, they will be in that fold. Where does that leave us behind all of those teams? If we don't I'm not saying to completely eradicate what we've done up to now, but add on to the stardust you talk about often, but bringing to then put us in those mixes. I don't know. I think this is a good opportunity this season to do better than what we have been, because other teams have been off and we find ourselves in there. But you know what? If you want to do it, you need to go and get these 2-3 players that could actually set you off to the next level. If you want to do it this year, I don't think we're going to do it. I don't think we haven't showed in these 20 days. What are we now? 20th, 21st. We haven't showed anything outside of 2 players that we've signed that we're going to do anything different this January. In the summer, I don't. Jack says the summer. I don't know, man. I've been hearing this for 2 or 3 years. We're going to do big things in the summer. What do we do now? No, I'm not saying what your ideology, your idea of it is not a bad idea. It's the right mindset. Do I believe Spurs are going to do that? I think Spurs are going to do more of the same things that we've been doing the last few seasons. Young, talented, maybe a player that could kick on and perhaps sell for 60 million further down the line. I think if someone wants Van de Ven in 2 or 3 years' time at the rate that he's going at, he'll have to come in and spend 60, 70, 80 million, and then we'll sell. And then we'll go and find, by that point, we'll have another next Van de Ven in line. That's the team that I see us being in the next 3 or 4 years. Nothing more.
What I was going to say, Iggy, was, don't you think it's kind of crazy, though, how at the start of the season, we're now talking about potentially what we need to do to kind of get to that title challenging point. In my opinion, at the start of the season...
Because it's a good opportunity to do it, Jack.
Yeah, I agree.
The reasons I've said about the other clubs around us.
Yeah. No, Iggy, I think you're spot on, because like you said, Chelsea can't be this bad forever. They're going to raise their level. Newcastle, with their financial backing, they're probably going to raise their level, like you say. But I still think you've kind of got to take it at face value at the point that Tottenham were so poor last year. No one wanted to go spend their money and watch Tottenham last year. We were awful. The football was terrible. And Ange has had to have a complete culture change to kind of get us to a level now where we can complete and play good football. People want to be in that stadium. I still think we should look at it and be like, right, this is good, but still want to look forward. I think we've got to appreciate what we got. But like you say, still look for that magic stardust, like Savva says.
Yeah, look, I agree with both of you. By the way, I think a few people have said, "Oh, we're never happy." I think this isn't about not being happy. I'm really happy. It's about, right, we're here. How do we get to there? And I think Iggy's brought up a brilliant point there, still. I think the reason this conversation's probably happening now rather than next year is because Ange might have, I don't want to say overachieved, because I thought we'd be fifth to 7th. So we're not somewhere in the league where I didn't think we could be, but we are further ahead points wise than I thought we would be. Is it because of what he said? Is it because that we're seeing some of the bigger clubs that don't stay down for too long? They hit the canvas, invariably or not, they sort of bounce back. Is that the reason why? Because at the moment we're seeing 2 or 3 teams up there with us. When those 2 bigger clubs get their act together as well, it now becomes even more difficult. So strike from a position of strength. Is that fair?
What's the question, Savva?
That we should strike from a position of strength.
Always.
So right now,
Always,
FFP, everyone's talking about, they've got no money. They've got no money. They've got no money. We have. I don't get this notion, by the way, that we don't have money. This notion that Levy can't spend like other clubs. Why not? We could spend another 400 million, I believe, or 350 million and be nowhere near FFP. So
yeah, but we're not even asking that. We're not even asking that.
No, I know. Yeah, no,
but,
for sure.
You know, so no, for those of you guys, you guys want Levy to spend 400 million. We're not asking that.
No.
We are saying, well, God,
I can tell you what this is, right? For me, this is straightforward. This is where the chat turns against me, but I don't care. There is a loser mentality within the Spurs fan base. Loser mindset. This ownership has installed a loser mentality in this fan base. We think it's okay to compete for top 4. We think it's okay to experience winning a semi-final in Amsterdam and then losing the final itself. Who cares about that semi-final? We won nothing. We didn't even turn up in the final. We've got this mentality of, as long as we're at the party, we get an invite, we're happy to be here and watch the football. It's great, isn't it? That is the loser mentality that only Spurs have out of the big 6 clubs. If we're going to be a big 6 club, you have to have a winning mentality. We used to have it. We had it in the past 60s, bit in the 70s, 80s, end of the 80s, early 90s. It was a little bit there. We've completely lost our mentality to win under Alan Sugar and mainly under Levy and Enoch. We've accepted mediocrity. We've accepted average. We've accepted going from mid-table in the 90s to challenging for top 4. We see that as some major moment. Guys, if you don't lift silverware, I've always said this, if you don't lift silverware, stop calling us a big 6 club, because the other big 6 clubs, in their bad years, they still find a way to pick up some trophies. We win nothing, like nothing. Out of all the big 6 clubs, we've been to the least amount of finals in the last 20 years. We don't even put ourselves in that consistent opportunity. Liverpool lost so many finals or so many league titles in the last 3 weeks of a season over the last 20 years, but they've won so much in that period as well. And that's because they're always knocking on the door. For me, Spurs fans need to raise their standards and demand more, right? We've got this stadium, we've got this money, we're financially powerful, we've got this state-of-the-art training facility that doesn't produce one winning team. We've got this state-of-the-art academy that doesn't produce one world-class player. Harry Kane came from the old academy, not the new one. We've got this state-of-the-art stadium that... Does it have a trophy room? Maybe it does for the past. I'm not shitting on Spurs. I'm not putting us down. Raise our standards is what I'm saying. Like, demand more. Like, if we fall short every year, like we come second, at least we're there, man. Like what Liverpool did under Klopp and under previous managers. Like, you're knocking on that door. Look, if we're going to be a big 6 club, we need to raise the standards. And it starts with fans not making excuses for everything. And for me, that's why I say loser mentality. It's when you keep making excuses for everything. And there's always an excuse for something. Again, look, I'm not crapping on Spurs. I'm wearing a Spurs shirt because I'm a Spurs fan. But the last 30 years, what I've seen at this club, and maybe it's because I'm a bit older, it's just been nothing but disappointment, underwhelming signings, and short periods of excitement and hope. We're in one now. But if that doesn't convert into silverware, what is the point of it? Like, what was the point? So that we can be entertained, so you can have the experience of being there. I was there when Andrew got us top 4. I don't care. So maybe it's a bit harsh, but I do think the mentality at this club, we've been We've been taught bad habits. Wenger started this, by the way. He started it with Arsenal when he told them top four is a trophy. He began that loser mentality mindset, and we've adopted it and said, yeah, we'll have some of that. Kind of like that. Yeah, top four. So
the thing is, you've got to look at it. Look at it from another angle. Ange Postecoglou was told,
oh, he's a winner. He's a winner.
No.
He's a winner.
I'm not saying that he's not a winner. I'm saying, he was ridiculed for being in Japan, Australia. Then he went to Scotland. It's a rubbish league. 2 teams in there. It's all right. I'll come to the Premier League and I'll bring what I have into the Premier League and see how that goes. Now he has proved that his way of doing things does also work in the Premier League, even for a team like Tottenham. So now he's put himself. This is what I was saying to you about putting yourself out there. Same story I used about the players. They come to Tottenham, they put themselves out there. He's now put his product out there to say, this is what I can do with this team. Now, if I hope to do more with this team by bettering those players, but do you think in 2-3 years' time, if he sees nothing is changing fundamentally in how he sees himself doing it, you're telling me teams like Man United or someone else?
You said this about Jose, Poch, Redknapp. They all stayed. They all stayed, Iggy.
But still, he can go to a Man United. He can go after that Ten Hag. He can go there and say, I'll get them to play the Man United way, the owner, because they would have all the financial backing that they will pump into that team to try and get them at the heights again. And that would be like that. Ange Postecoglou would be like, this is where I want to be because this is what I want to be competing for. At Tottenham, it wasn't quite happening for me. I can almost see the script in 3-4 years' time when Postecoglou moves on to a team that he's able to take his product in and win playing that way because he's backed in a club that's more ambitious and sets the standards up even more higher. This is why I continue to think that the way we're going about things as a club, I'm not blaming Postecoglou or the players that are currently there. But where we're going,
by the way, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for fans like Jack. Right, part of me wants to be like Jack. Where, no, Jack. Honestly, this is what I'm going to say. Right, because I think you might appreciate this. I wish I was like you, young. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Young, haven't seen much of Spurs' past. You lived during the Poch era, which is exciting. You're living under Ange, which is exciting. I want to be in your place where I've got that hope and that belief. And come on, man, we can do this. But I feel sorry for fans like yourself and fans like Iggy's son, who's a Spurs fan, because you guys, you've never seen glory. You've never tasted it. You've never experienced it. You don't know what it takes as a fan to watch it. And I feel sorry for you guys because you've never been given that. And that's such a shame, the Spurs fans, the young generation of Spurs fans, to have been denied that. Like that winds me up, Charlie. And like, the same applies to Iggy's son. He's exactly the same. It's like,
Charlie again.
It's not, I feel for you guys, man, because I've seen some of it and I know what it's like, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I wish you guys could express.
I hear what you're saying. But what I would say is, part of the reason why I'm a football fan is I've gone to the stadium since I was 4. Win or lose, I go each week because I enjoy watching my team play. At the end of the day, I want to win more than anyone. When we're in that stadium, that's all you care about. But to be part of kind of a culture, trying to see your team going week in, week out, playing that style of football, I don't just look at it like that. I know you said about Ajax, the semi-final.
Wait till you get to.
Hang on. One sec. Ren, real quick. Doesn't matter if someone else wants him, he would leave anyway. Why? If we are showing that ambition, if we are showing that we are going places, why would he choose to leave anyway if he can do it at Tottenham? Do you see what I'm trying to say? There's an acceptance from us as fans. It's going to happen anyway. And this is the point I'm trying to get at. We accepted the fact that all good that comes at Spurs, be it Ange Postecoglou, be it Van der Ven, Romero, Eriksen before, Kane, there's an acceptance. He's only here. He's just his journey. He will kick on and move on. There's an acceptance when we should be saying we should be winning by keeping Kane, adding to Kane, adding to Eriksen, adding to Carl Walker, adding to that. We had that, but we didn't build from that. We just accept that these guys are just journeymen. They're going to come through Tottenham and go to bigger and better things. That needs to stop. But is the mindset there from the board to us fans that is going to stop? There isn't, which is why we accept that Ange will move on and win somewhere else.
I quickly finish this chat with Jack? Right, Jack. I used to go to Spurs all the time in the 90s. We were diabolical. Right, we were a joke. Right, one season, I think we had to go away to Oldham Athletic and win. Otherwise, we got relegated. That's how horrific it was. I used to watch some of the worst players in English football. Okay, I still went because I was like you. It's about the culture. It's about being with my mates. It's about having a pint before the game. I loved it. But as you get older and you get to a point where you say, do you know what?
Time's running out.
Yeah, exactly, Jack. Time's running out. Like, I want to see my club win stuff again, man. And I think that's why I said I wish I was you again.
No,
it's such a nicer place to be.
Just quickly, can I? I've got to get some super chats and a few things that a few comments. You know me, I like to chuck in a few random ones where people say some silly things, and I think, well, let's address them. It's good. It's good fun. First of all, everybody, there are over 475 of you in the chat. Only 192 likes. Come on, we've really got to smash that like button. It's free. I can't be clearer. It's free. It's like paying for the show, but it's free. So please do that. And I'm only 6 subscribers away from 12.9k. So please smash that button. Look, let's get to the first super chat was from our good friend Donna Cullen, who has said, "Oh, I used to say I'd never fall in love until I found Mr. Stell. I said I'll never fall in love until I fall into him. Mr. Stell, how have you been?" Big up, Donna. Thank you very much for the super chat. She came back in and said, "Lisa, stay away from Mr. Savva." I've no idea what this is about, but big up to you.
My Mr. Savva. My Mr. Savva.
Oh, my Mr. Savva. Okay. Orox Beats, big up to you, bro. Hope you're well. I said ambition is signing a Bakayoko or a Nico Williams or a right winger of that level because Johnson is crap. And also signing an Edison or a Zubamendi. Yeah, look, I think we've covered the Johnson thing a lot. There are so many better wingers in the world than him that were cheaper than him. I think I'm really disappointed we bought that, but we move on and we move forward. And yeah, someone like a Zubamendi would be absolutely brilliant. That's the sort of level of signing I think we need. So big up to you, Orox. Donna Cullen came back in and said, "Mr. Principato, it's Inter or Juve from looks." I have no idea what that means. Does anyone know what this means?
Not a clue.
It's Inter Juve to win the Serie A. Yeah, it is. It looks like it's going to be Inter Juve.
Oh, yeah. I see. Sorry, I see. Who's your Italian team again?
AC.
Your AC. Okay, right. Is that what this is? Okay, right.
Yeah,
got it. Big up to you. Thank you so much for that, Donna. Big up to Rooksy Pop. How are you, bro? I hope all is well. Said, I still think Spurs' ambition is only top 4. Big up. By the way, listen, I'm happy if Tottenham finish top 4 this season. It's been a phenomenal year. For me, I'll ask the same question that I ask at the beginning of every summer. We do this every year, Stel, Iggy, Jack. I'm sure we'll be streaming in the summer together. It's always that thing. What do we do in this summer? Where's the ambition? So yeah, so we'll see. But thank you, Rooksy Pop. Foggy Martin, big up to you. Foggy Martin has said, 20 years, the landscape has changed. Money ran football. It's changing again with FFP.
I disagree.
We are set up now.
I disagree.
Patience, and I see us getting there in a year or 3. Foggy Martin, I mean, listen, I'll let Stel disagree with you in a minute about whatever he wants to disagree with you on. But I think when we're saying patience, I do feel like, depending on your age, that word starts to look. I don't know if Jack's, again, lucky enough to be nowhere near as old as the other 3 of us on this panel. I don't know about you 2 at the top, but the patience word is, after 23 years, doesn't mean anything anymore to me. It's like patience. It's kind of like, yeah.
This doesn't wash for me, Foggy Martin, because 3 things. Number 1, when we built the stadium, Daniel Levy put out a statement saying that we've learned from other clubs building a stadium. We won't make the same mistakes. We're going to ring fence the money so we're not affected for transfers during the stadium build. 2 years we went out without signing a player for Pochettino. Number 2, we went into the Champions League final with Sissoko and Winks in midfield because we sold Nusa Dembele in January 5 months prior and didn't replace him. Sorry. And finally, to sack Jose Mourinho 5 days before a final to put Ryan Mason in. All of the things I've just said have got nothing to do with the landscape changing. They are boardroom decisions that were against winning trophies. So yes, the landscape's changed to some degree, but our board have made bad decisions when it comes to wanting to win trophies as well. So that's why this doesn't really wash with me completely.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. A big up to you, Foggy Martin. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm always very, very, very appreciative of anyone that spends their hard-earned money with me. Hennessy has been a member for 6 months. Big up to you, bro. I said, big up, ladies and gents. Love to the panel. Much love back at you as well, my friend. And here's just a couple of comments from somebody that I found quite funny. And I always feel like this is one of those times where people have typed but haven't engaged this while these are doing their thing. You know what I mean? They haven't let it get from there to here before they said what they like. Carnival started off by saying, signing one top player in January is extremely hard. And you guys talk about signing 2 to 3 top players, totally deluded and fantasy. I don't know if any of the others said it. I don't believe any of us said we need to sign 3 top players in January. I don't remember anyone saying that in any way, shape or form. I think what we were saying was not in January.
I said if we can sign 2 or 3 really good players in January, there's no reason why we can't go for the league title. That's what I said. If we can do that. But when I think Dragusin is a good signing. It's solid replacement for the centre backs. I class that as 1. Timo Werner, I'm sorry, you ain't going to convince me. No chance. After that, we stopped. So I think if we signed 2 or 3 players of the Dragusin level, that's what I was talking about. In terms of the superstar, kind of like I said, the Vlahovic to Kvaratskhelia, I think they're the kind of things that do have to be done in the summer, which is what Jack was saying earlier on. That bit I agree, but don't tell me Timo Werner is ambition. And I'm tired of this whole stopgap. Like, why are we the only club that does stopgaps? Why have we coined this as well? Why is it always us?
Well, just one more. I mean, listen, we're going to go through this next one, guys. This was a good one. Please name top players that have smashed it in the Prem that were signed in January in the last 10 years. Well, first of all, I don't know why I only have to limit it. Hang on. I don't know why we've got to limit it to 10 years. I'm about to give you a list of players that came in and smashed the crap out of the Premier League that were signed in January. Iggy, would you like to go first?
Sorry, VDV straight away comes to mind, but yeah.
Virgil van Dijk dropped in. He weren't bad. Listen, I'll tell you what I've done. I actually Googled the best January signings of all time in the Premier League, and players like Virgil van Dijk, Nemanja Vidic. I don't know if anyone remembers him. I don't think he was bad. Luis Suarez, Patrice Evra was a January signing. Bruno Fernandes came in and absolutely smashed his first 18 months at Man United. Robert Hoof, remember him going to Leicester City from Stoke? Sorry, wasn't he part of their defence that won the league title? Nemanja Matic from Benfica to Chelsea. We've got Philip Coutinho, who went from Inter Milan to Liverpool in a January window. Gary Cahill from Bolton to Chelsea. Jermaine Defoe from Toronto to Sunderland and kept Sunderland up. Branislav Ivanovic. You know, could keep going on and on and on. So you can get some top signings in January, right, guys? Aubameyang was a January signing.
Mate, Pedro Porro is currently the best right wing back in the league. We signed him in January.
I don't know if he smashed it, but Ozil, didn't he sign in January?
I can't remember if Ozil did. You got Antonio Reyes did. Mikel Arteta did, and Emmanuel Adebayor, Tielemans.
Can I be brutally honest? Can I be brutally honest here? Anything but Timo, like these freebie things, I can tolerate. If we signed, he's all right. Okay, I get it. But things like Timo is what winds me up. Like this is Danjuma all over again for me, and that's what frustrated me, because I thought maybe this January we'd show a bit more ambition and say, do you know what? Let's really load up this squad and genuinely try and lift that FA Cup. Let's really try and win that FA Cup. And do you know what? Let's go for first. We'll probably end up 3rd or 4th. But when I see Timo Werner's, I don't know, man. I just lose a bit of hope with it, guys. I just lose a bit of my buzz dies off a bit. You know.
No, do you know what? Listen, I'm really happy with it. I think this gets lost in translation of actually having a proper serious conversation about football. It gets lost in this, and I think this comment kind of like you said, I'm so patronising. I don't know who I've patronised. I said there is a reason your subs don't go up. I mean, my channel's been going 20 months and I'm nearly at 13k. That's not bad, is it? I mean, I didn't know that was that bad. I'm sure there's. Sorry. Everything on this chat is we aren't City or Liverpool. No. The question was titled, if we want to win league titles, we've got to beat Man City and Liverpool. How do we get to them, my friend? So listen, I can't help. If you're not listening, I can't help it. But I want proper football chat. If you want me, Iggy, Jack and Stel to sit here and just go, you know what? Everything's great. Everything's great. Don't worry about it. We're winning the league next year. Then I'm afraid you're on the wrong channel. Guys, let's move. I was going to move to talk about Man City in the Cup this week, but now that'll be that I'm talking about Man City again. But sod it, it's my channel. Iggy, we're playing Man City in the Cup this weekend.
It's a fact.
We're starting. It is a fact. It is a fact. We're playing Man City in the FA Cup this weekend.
It.
You know, I love it. Sorry, my man's back. I love it. Who is this guy? Savva, what have other teams done in this window? Stop harking on about the past, i.e. Virgil van Dijk. I'm pretty sure I was just asked.
Yeah, but can I say, Darren Phillips?
This guy's an absolute tosser, isn't he?
Other teams like Chelsea and Liverpool are in cup semi-finals this season. Other teams like Liverpool and City are battling for the league title. Other teams like Arsenal in the Champions League. We had more to do to close the gap and push on and try and win the FA Cup. So I think when you compare us to other teams, can we look at where each team is and what they need to do to be successful? I think that's where this whole argument gets lost a bit when we say things like, "Oh, but look what other teams have done." And also,
you gotta look at it this way.
There's still 10 days of the window. We don't know what's going to happen yet.
You got to look at it. It could be us. We could be talking about Aston Villa, who find themselves where they are. Look, Man United. Look, next season. I believe Chelsea and Man United are not going to repeat the same season as this year. I think they'll do a lot better, and they will be with the likes of the Arsenal, the Man City, the Liverpools, and if we stand still, all I'm saying, if we stand still, we're gonna drift down again, and it's just like, you know, it's just
look. Iggy, the thing is though, what
it's
I love about
it's a film
this
seen too many times. It's a film seen too many times.
People never seem to listen. That's what I don't get. Like, I don't think anyone sat and said we're in a bad position. I think everyone has acknowledged, hang on, we're having a good season. I think what we're talking about is what do we do then to kick on? Mike, I will say, I do feel like this is a very, very optimistic outlook. I like it, but I don't think it's quite true. When you say we are so close to winning the league, we need one decent signing this window and we're in with a shout. I'm just going to...
Mike, who would be that decent signing to your in your mind? What would that one signing be?
Oh, what's this?
Yeah, I think Spurs will get top 4 this year, by the way. I've said it for a while now. I said we will get top 4 and I stick by that. I think we will do it, which is good. Which is a good season.
If we are one signing away, who is that signing? Who is that signing that will push us to win the league? That's what I want to know from Mike.
That's what I want to know. Mike, let me know, because look, sorry, I know the boxes are in the way, but you can see here, Spurs are currently 8 points off the title. I mean, Jack, I'll ask you, are we one signing away from closing an 8-point gap on Liverpool and Man City, who have got a game in hand? I mean, this is a gap now, Jack, isn't it? This isn't me making this up.
You know,
that's a gap.
Yeah, it's definitely a gap. And you know me, I love a bit of optimistic Spurs talk. I can be optimistic, but I'd like to say that's balanced with realistic. And I wouldn't say we're one signing away from winning the Premier League, for being honest. I like what he's saying. Well, no, I don't. One signing, let's be honest, is not going to change it. But if you make over the summer a couple of signings, then we might be in that conversation. 8 points is a lot. We still got to play Liverpool at Anfield. They've been there before. They're going to carry on kind of improving. Realistically, in my opinion, I actually don't think Liverpool have played their best football yet. I think they're going to carry on getting better. They've kind of not played their best and got results done. Like in the first half today, if you lads watched it, I don't think they were brilliant at all. But they find a way to win games. And that's where we've gone wrong. And that's why we're probably not in that conversation, because when we've struggled, like when we went to Brighton, Everton, we can't change it. Liverpool, they bring on Jota, who they signed, like you say, for a good fee, and they've got other players they can bring on. So for me, definitely not one player. A couple of, I'd say 3 or 4 players with serious quality, and maybe we're talking about expecting.
Don't you think, Jack, that the thing for me, and I'll go to the boys up top after you've answered this, I do think that I have these conversations a lot with people where when people say one signing and I think we do this, 2 signings, I think we do this, I do feel like in the heat of the moment, we completely forget that football is a massive squad game. Right?
Yeah.
One signing, that one player could be Lionel Messi. That one player could get injured for 6 months. This is about a squad, and this is the thing. When you look at Liverpool, you look at Man City. Man City are the most informed team in European football, and they haven't had Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland, John Stones, Jeremy Doku, right? Etc. etc. Liverpool had 9 first-team players missing today. They've been missing half their back 4 all season. They've been missing players all season as well, and are still top of the league because they don't rely on one player. It's not one player keeps us ticking. What needs to happen for our fans, Jack, to realise that it's a squad
that
wins titles, not one player?
So I like the optimism when you say one player, and that might be one player that helps our starting 11 be brilliant. But you're spot on in that football is a squad game. If you look at Liverpool and Manchester City, the reason why they've stayed up there is because they've got 2 11s really that are absolutely brilliant. But they've also got a manager that has the mentality to keep them fighting, because they've been there and done it before. So, like you say, I think we've still definitely 3 or 4 players away from being in that conversation. And Liverpool have shown again today what it really takes to kind of do it year in, year out and be up in that conversation.
Because Iggy, we keep seeing it, we keep doing this. Like, if everyone's fit, we're constantly saying if everyone's fit. No club in this league has had everyone fit this season. Not every club is getting so many injuries that. We've got to stop saying this, haven't we? If everyone's fit, we can win a league title. You've got to play the odds. You've got to have backups.
And that's us without Europe this season compared to everyone else. They got Europe. And we of course we need to expand our squad. We need to get a bigger squad, and we will need to bring that quality up. Listen, I can appreciate that we are slowly getting rid of the old deadwood, if you like. Although lately we can't seem to sell a player for love or money. We haven't to always resort to loaning the player out. Tanganga's come back, loan to Millwall, Regular's come back, loan to Brentford. So we're constantly having to rotate these players out on loan because we just simply cannot shift them. So that blocks everything else, because we will find this summer these guys will all be back. But so yeah, if we are going to Europe next season, which is more than likely it would happen, we can't just rely on the 11, 12 players that we've got. We need to expand on the numbers, and we need to up on the quality. Otherwise, we won't even get far in Europe either. So, listen, I'm not. This isn't me trying to sound like I'm not grateful for what I'm seeing this season. I think there's a lot of things I'm seeing good this season that perhaps I haven't sounded it tonight. Maybe I can take that on board. But
you don't have to every show. You don't have to have that positive mindset.
It's not about not being. I am appreciative of what I've seen compared to what I've seen in the last couple of seasons.
Sure,
I am appreciative of it, but I'm always in my mind. I'm always looking at that next step. Is just moving to that next step. Okay, what's the next milestone for this Tottenham side? We make top 4, brilliant. That's a good starting spot. If we go all the way in the FA Cup, brilliant. That's a good start. What's the next one? Always want to be thinking ahead. Don't want to just be thinking, all right, let's just think here and now, and then tomorrow we'll deal with it. No, man. In football, you always have to be thinking about. And I just all I want to see is a club that's very present to what needs to be done. Declare what needs to be done, because once you outwardly declare what you need to do as a club, every fan can hear that and be on board with that, and then you put yourself under pressure to achieve that because you've outwardly declared it. When you don't say something, when you don't say, as a striker, I want to score 20 goals this season. As a defender, I want to achieve this. As a midfielder, I want to achieve that. When you don't outwardly declare it, then you're not can be held accountable, and that lack of accountability. Why should you not be held accountable? You outwardly say it, then it gives you something to thrive on. You might miss the target, but you said, you know what, this is what I want to achieve. And then you haven't achieved it this year, you can go again next year. But start putting things in place. This is what I want a club to say. This is what we want as Tottenham Hotspur FC. This is what we want to do this season, the next 3-4 years. And these are the milestones and the steps to take to achieve them. It's not because then we're going to use that and say, well, you didn't do this, you're doing that. But if we can see that there's signs of this is what we want to do, we might even say, you know what, we'll give you another season to do it. But not saying nothing, you're not declaring nothing, you're not saying nothing. Where is Tottenham Hotspur going? Is it all about the here and now? We've got Postecoglou now, so we can shut up the people that didn't like the Conte football, didn't like it. We shut them up now. Where is the next move?
Iggy, sorry to interrupt you, right? Let's do this experiment now in the comments and us four here. Right, I'll ask you a very simple question. In your opinion, what does this club want?
Stop. Solanke's gonna. Sorry, Solanke's that one signing we need to challenge for the league, Mike. Is that what we're saying? Because I remember what you wrote earlier on. We need one good signing to challenge for the league. Solanke's the one. Mike, with all due respect. So signing Solanke as the final piece of the jigsaw to make us win the league.
When I told you guys about this loser mentality, right? Just remember it. But what do you believe Spurs as a club, right? Forget the fans. It's not about the fans. The club. What do they want? For me, my answer is I've got no idea.
He wants Champions League football.
Champions League football.
He wants. I've always said that he wants Champions League football. It's the revenue that comes with it. To go on and win titles, you need to spend more money than you're actually going to make back. And that's the difference. I don't think the appetite has ever been there to do that. That's just me. It's only me. Jack?
Yeah, like you say, Champions League football for me has got to be the ambition this season. And then you build from there. I think it'd be ridiculous for us to expect to be in a title challenge straight away. But then you've got to be opportunistic as well. And I don't believe, I think...
No, Jack, sorry, the question
is... Like, can I just finish what I'm saying, mate?
Go on.
What I was going to say is, I feel like we've got a project with Ange. And I like what you're saying about trying to change it straight away. But sometimes if you're trying to disrupt that as well and kind of take it on course and kind of spend loads of money in January, and those players don't turn out to be great, like we've seen at Chelsea, you're just wasting it. And then you're not kind of going with the project. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, look, look, do you know what? I'd love to. We'll know more in the summer. I've said this for 20 odd years. We'll know more in the summer. If we get to that summer and we start sprinkling a few players in there, the likes that we would never have signed previously, you know they're backing him, and you know they believe in him, and you know that they want more. I'm all for it. At the moment, I think we've moved early in the window. I don't think we've done anything quality-wise that makes me go, oh, anything's different. I think I like Dragusin, but we should be able to sign Dragusin, right? We should be able to sign him. He's 21. He's from Italy, mid-table. We should be able to get that in. Werner doesn't do anything for me, but cool. You've got him in. That's fine. But I just think that we've got to a stage now where just saying you're happy with what's going on at the moment isn't enough for some fans. It's like, because I'm not sitting here saying, oh, my God, we're winning a league next year, or we're going to win the league this year. It's, oh, you're not happy. You want everything in 1 year. I don't. I think he's done amazing if he gets top four. I think he's done amazing if he gets top four this year, because I said I thought it would be 5th to 7th, which is currently where we are, right? We are currently 5th. But I just feel like I think everyone needs to calm down. Like, we're overhyping every young player that we're linked with. Like, every young player is being touted out to be some amazing player. Everyone thinks that Postecoglou's going to make them all into great players, and he could do. All I'm saying is give this manager some stardust, let him work with some top players. Now you can go and challenge. This isn't about the manager. Yeah, I love the manager.
I think we can be, like you say, I think we can be, like, have these conversations, like you say, intelligent conversations where we want to look forward and kind of progress, because that's what we all want. I'm sure all four of us agree. Like, we want to be in that type of conversation. We want to be in that FA Cup final, but we can do that as well as having praise, like we all have, really. And we're in a good position.
Of course. But Jack, just quickly, sorry, just quickly, when you're saying you can't believe what you're hearing, I think everyone's echoed this. I think everyone's echoed that he's doing a brilliant job. I really wish people could change the mindset to we're talking about, right, great job we're doing. How'd you kick on? No one's saying we're not doing a great job. I feel like I don't understand what people listen to. I really wish it was just adults that typed in the chat. I really do, because it just needs to be. I do. No, seriously, because you have a conversation, like I say, right, there's the benchmark. How do we hit it? Oh, you think we should be City or Liverpool? No,
These are the same fans that said we're going to win the league the following season after Conte got top 4 in 6 months. These are the same fans saying this. I've heard this before. Jack, can I ask you a question? Can I ask the question again? My question was, what do you think the club wants? Like you told me what you would like to see, and I agree. What you said, I want to see the same thing. But what do you think the club wants? Do you think it's what you want, or do you think they've got a different kind of vision?
I think the club will want what you want. To be honest, I do think the club want to see the most successful Spurs we can see, but I don't think they're going to be financially irresponsible and chuck money that they can't afford. I think they're bringing in Ange, a manager that takes time. He's not someone realistically who's going to go in and demand money. I think it's a perfect match for Levy. I think Postecoglou is someone who has the ability to say, no, you need to back me. I want players in early. But he's also not going to demand unrealistic things like Mourinho and Conte probably did. And that's why there was a clash. So I think they're going to want the best, but are they going to do it? Are they going to supply Postecoglou with those quality players that he needs to progress? That's what I believe.
So what we're saying then is, you said how. By the way, I'm not cross-examining you. I'm just having a debate. You said that Postecoglou is a perfect match for Levy. The way I interpret that is, and I've heard that from many fans, by the way. The way I interpret that is, the club wants to do it their way because they think they know how to win, and they've brought in a manager that matches their way, but the club has never won.
But what I'd say though is we've tried to bring in Conte. We've tried to bring in Mourinho by bringing in winners. We can't argue that. They were managers that have been there and done it. And we were all hating it. Let's be honest, we were hating that football. We've kind of then gone back to try and get a balance where we've brought in a manager that's won, but is also playing brilliant football. So I think
I hate the transfers.
I agree. I like the questions you're asking me, and they're totally fair. But what I'd say is we have been through it. We have been through the process where we brought in winners. We've tried to bring in some quality players. We could argue, yes, we didn't quite get the centre halves when we needed. We didn't quite bring in those things. But we all wanted to say good football. I think that was the priority. And we've done that. And now we've got back. Yeah. We've got to kind of move forward.
That's where I disagree. For me, as a fan, good football isn't the priority. For me, it's winning silverware.
Was you not saying that, though, when Conte was there and he was the winner, people were screaming for him, me included at the start. But when it went wrong, would you have kind of risked and kept Conte and kept the bad vibes around the club instead of bringing in someone who's bringing you good football with the opportunity to carry on moving forward? That's where I see it.
But Conte got Clement Longley, not Virgil van Dijk. Conte got Fraser Forrester, not who's the Italian goalie we've signed? Vicario. Conte got given Danjuma, not Maddison. I would say our transfer policy for the last 20 years has been shambolic. I could go back to Martin Joel. So for me, have we ever truly backed a manager? It looks on the optics that things are changing because we've signed 4 or 5 decent players in the summer, which we've never really done before. And we're signing players early, which we've never done before. So I would agree that there's a transfer shift. But when I see Brennan Johnson's, Timo Werner's playing for this club and starting, I see the problems that happen to Poch and Redknapp. So until I see that eradicated, for me, Jack, I've seen this before with Poch and Redknapp, where we played really good football. It was young. It was exciting. A couple of gems. But I can't sit here and I'm seeing Emerson Royale is the backup to Porro, Sessegnong's the backup to Udogie, Højbjerg and Skip's the backup to Bentancur and Bissouma, Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner on the wings. Fans will say, "Oh yeah, but they're squad players, but they get game time and they cost us." These are the same players that cost us against Brighton, Villa, West Ham. We couldn't beat United when we should have. So I'm not against this. I'm with you guys. I think we're going in the right direction.
Can we call it for what it is?
I can't see these players creep into this
Name
club
me.
that replace. How can you get rid of players like Dyers and we bring in Werners and Johnsons? Like, for me, it's like we're potentially signing players that we're going to be stuck with for another 4 years that won't cut it.
But let's look. Let's move this, because I feel like a lot of the things have been said have been positive, but it's moving towards a negative vibe, right? People are taking it negatively. Look, for me, I'm really, really happy with what this guy's done. I need to make that clearer. I think we've made some very smart, some very astute signings.
Yeah, 100%.
And my thing is, if we back this guy, and I'm not talking about Timo Werners, I'm not talking about Antonio Nusa.
The Timo Werner thing is very clear.
Hang on.
What does backing mean, Savva? What does backing mean?
Let me finish my sentence, and we'll get there, won't we? Right? If this manager is backed with proper players that have been there, seen it, done it, we're talking the sort of players that the Liverpools and the Man Cities will buy, right? Because we're talking like these two clubs buy everyone for £100 million, and they don't. Nearly all of the top players that these two clubs have bought always are in that bracket that we can afford, the 40 to 60 million bracket. We can afford it. We've done it plenty of times. We've bought players in that bracket. If we do that, as well as bringing through the Nusas, as well as bringing through the Valises and the Adogis, for me, then I turn around and go, do you know what? Yeah, everything has changed. Go on, Postecoglou, win it. Right? I'm not saying right now, but then I turn around. All I'm saying is, I just think people have gone so far the other way from where we were last season in such a short space of time that the moment anything is critiqued, you get called negative. And the thing is, we're still here as YouTubers to discuss transfers. We're here to discuss players. We're here to discuss what are the possibilities as a club. And the moment that somebody like myself says, I don't think we can win the league. Oh, you're not a real fan. Have faith. Just back Ange. It's like, no. I was here before Ange. Not me, all of us. We were here before Ange. We're going to be here after Ange. It's not Ange I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Ange. Right? I'm not worried about giving this guy top players and letting him win a league. I'm worried about, will we actually do that? And is that what we want? Right now, I'm not worried about it. But in the future, to kick on, that's what I will be worried about.
The target. But the thing is,
absolutely.
Is the way we are doing it proved successful by any other club in world football? As it resulted to them winning the league, doing it
as it stands now.
In Mickey Mouse.
No, not this moment. Just the way Spurs have been doing things in the last 20 years. What the only thing that Spurs has proved doing it the way that they're doing it is that perhaps they're a financially stable club. That's something that we wasn't as stable before. We've probably in a healthy position financially. That's absolutely fine. But what I'm trying to get at is if we aspire, I'm assuming that the whole fan base all aspire to us to one day winning the league. That's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, other people might think, no, I just want us to be healthy. I want us to be financially stable. I want to choose top 4, and that's it. I don't know where everyone's head's at, but I'm just going on the assumption. It could be a wrong assumption that we are one day aspiring to win the league. Is the way we are doing it right now, or
has it been done before?
Has it been done by any other club that's won league after league after league this way?
Yes, with a twist.
Go on, no.
Yes, with a twist.
Maybe we're copying that.
Liverpool did this. I did a show with Sean on Friday, and I brought up the first year under Ange of players going out, players coming in, and we brought up the first 2 to 3 windows of Jurgen Klopp, players coming in, going out. Very, very similar. Very similar in terms of Deadwood going out, young, exciting players coming in, and they were nearly men. Do you remember Liverpool? They were good. They were a very good team, but they were nearly men. This is all I've said all along. And I know people call me negative. This is what I've said all along. Doing this is fine. Doing this, I think we're going to be great. I think we're going to be that team like we were under Poch that everyone loves to watch, even if they hate Spurs. You know, when fans say, I hate Spurs, they secretly like watching us when we're on telly because we bomb forward and we play good football. But what Liverpool did after that first 2-3 windows, Iggy, was They didn't just get rid of Deadwood and bring in young players for the future. They sprinkled it with absolute stardust. So I'm not saying we have to do that now. I'm saying that when we get to the stage where all the Deadwood's gone and we've got this good squad, are we prepared to go bomb? Because I'll throw it back to you. Can you name a Premier League team that's won it? And everyone's going to say Leicester for the anomaly. Other than that, which Premier League club has won this title without dropping in some star players? And I'm not talking about good players. I'm talking about those players that get you over lines. Van Dijk's, Alisson's,
You're gonna have
Mo
to,
Salah's.
you will need those players because over the course of 38
That's
games,
what I'm saying.
you have to finish above City, Liverpool,
That's all I
Arsenal,
said.
Man United, Chelsea. All of these, you have to, at the end of the 38 games, to win the league, you have to finish above those. Without the players that you're talking about, it ain't going to happen. So this is where I'm at. Are we going to do that? Time will tell. I don't know. Am I happy with what I'm seeing this season? Yes, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm looking tonight for me has been about chatting about outside of what we're seeing in this current season.
Absolutely.
I think this is where people have
People
kind of
can't
lost us a
understand
little
that.
bit.
Yeah.
People say, how could you not be happy with what's seen? We are happy. We are looking beyond what we are currently seeing, and where do we? And that's the part that's I'm not on board just yet. I'm on board with what Ange's doing. I'm loving what he's doing. I think we've brought in some really good players in Udogie, Vicario, Van der Ven, Maddison. They've all proven to be a success in what we are currently underdoing. There's no denying there's been Passard. There's been so many good, Poro. There's so many good things that are happening all in one time in such a short space of time. There's no denying that. But I am looking beyond this. This is the conversation I'm having beyond this.
This has been my point all week, everywhere on this show, until I see what you've just said. That moment where we go, pow. Nothing's changed for me. Nothing, not a single thing has changed at this club that I haven't seen before until that moment comes. If that moment's this summer or the summer after, fine. But until I see it, you are not going to get me saying things have changed. All you're going to hear me say is, yeah, we've got our Poch and Redknapp days back. And I'm fine with that as a spectacle, but as a fan, I'm not fine with that because that always ends up in failure. So I want to see that pow Liverpool moment, and then I'll say, yeah, I get it now. But that hasn't happened. And like, if you say these things, negative, go support Arsenal, all the usual shit.
Remember?
Yeah, look. I think this is purely a conversation about, because for all season, what I've had thrown at me is, just believe, Savva, just believe we can win the league. And I looked at the table tonight and said, look, they're 8 points clear of us. I don't even think the team that are 8 points clear are winning it, by the way. Right? We're 8 points. So my question, the only point of this show this night was, okay, what do we need to do moving forward? Not now. I've never said this window, by the way. I think everyone understands I've not said this window. What do we need to do in the summer? Because I hear it every summer. We all hear it every summer, right? Conte's going to be backed. He's going to get this player, this player, this player, this player. Then they don't come in and we go, oh, well, he wasn't backed. Cool. I just want to know that we are going to back them this time around when we're that close to winning things. We've been here before. We've been in some wonderful positions under Yo, Redknapp, Poch. We've been in wonderful positions, guys, to kick on. And we didn't. We kind of kicked the can down the road and said, no, don't worry, just compete with what you've got. Now, I don't know. Can we be the first club to do it without signing those top stars? I mean, that's a great dream. And if Ange does that, superb. But I'm not talking about going to spend £100 million on footballers.
I agree with what you're saying. The only thing I'd say about Liverpool and City, and don't get me wrong, they've invested a lot of money, but to kind of build out the squad as well. When we're talking about Salah, he was bought for about £30 million from Basel. When you talk about Mane, he was only £30 million from Southampton. So I don't necessarily think it's about spending the most money on the most high-profile signings. It's about getting the signings right, who are quality and kind of.
When did they win it, Jack? When did they win it?
When did it what? What do you mean?
When did they win it? Because for me, it wasn't Salah and Mane, the signings that tipped them over the line.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just talking about Van Dijk and Alisson as well. Van Dijk and Alisson. I agree.
Big signings, right? Statement signings, like.
Yeah. But even with Van Dijk at the time, he was at Southampton. They had to pay over the odds. I wouldn't say he was brilliant and everyone knew how good he was, but he wasn't necessarily like your Sergio Ramos.
So many clubs wanted him. So many clubs wanted him.
Virgil van Dijk.
Well, no.
Oh,
I'm saying,
mate.
No, I'm saying he's brilliant. I'm saying he's brilliant.
He was.
But like when I'm going back to my Salah and Mane point, these are still the players where they had to start as well. So I still feel like we need to bring in a couple more players of that ilk as well before we even talk about spending the 60 to 70 million players like those game-changing signings.
Well, why? Like 60? Why should Spurs as a club? I mean, I'm not even saying they have to be 60, 70 million pound signings, by the way. But why in the summer would we not be capable of going and signing 2 70 million pound players?
No, I didn't say we weren't capable. I said earlier on that I'd love to see players like
Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so I would love to see those players, but what I'm saying is there are still good players who for 30, 40 million pounds, like Liverpool signed, that could still help us get to that level. But don't get me wrong, I would love to see us really push the boat out and bring in those real quality players as well.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, Mohamed Ria, this is definitely a hot take because it's just not true. Virgil van Dijk went in there, and first of all, Virgil van Dijk, I think everyone needs to remember, was being courted by every big club in world football. And I listen, I'm not a scout, but I think anyone watching Van Dijk realised that he was just different, right? He was a Rolls Royce amongst other centre halves, and he went in and look. Do you know what? I've heard this before. If we can win the league without doing what I'm saying, I will happily sit here and be wrong. But I remember being on Twitter and Facebook saying these things under Poch many moons ago. I remember under Poch, I got so much shit because I turned around and I was saying, guys, don't know, I might have seen you on Twitter at that time. I don't think we knew each other still. I don't know if you had seen my post, Iggy, but the shit I was getting at the time was I was saying things are really good now, but what are we doing in the background to take it from here to there? And everyone had a go at me. Everyone was, oh my God, you don't like Poch, blah, blah, blah. What we're building is brilliant. But we weren't building anything. We had an 11 and then stopped. My question is, can we now go the next one in the next few years? We won't know this yet. We won't know this year. Might not even know it next year. But that's where the question lies with a lot of people who have been skeptical as to what does good look like. That's all it is.
I think there are similarities this team to what Poch did in that team.
Yeah,
I agree.
There's a lot of similarities in this team. What I don't want is part 2 to be the same as part 1.
Except Harry Kane
that's my and that's
phenomenal.
without, you're right, that's without Kane.
Kane was
We don't have Kane in the squad, so there's a lot of similarities in this team. There's a lot of similar things that we did in that team there.
The thing is,
obviously, we want the outcome to be different, but we'll see.
See, I go back to this loser mindset, right? Something I hear so many fans saying all the time. And when I say loser, it doesn't mean you're a loser in life. That's not what I'm saying. It means you keep making excuses. Like we've been there before. We got burnt. Spending big doesn't work. No. Ndombele.
Sorry, this is not true. Sorry. This it frustrates me. Everybody with half a memory remembers that Virgil van Dijk was wanted by many clubs. We can't just why this is what I don't get what we do. We're suddenly rewriting history and all of these things. Right? Liverpool, I think everyone acknowledged that Liverpool went out and sold Coutinho and then bought in Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, right? And then went on to win everything. And now it's like we're just trying to rewrite history. Like, oh, but they weren't that good. Yes, they bloody were. What are we doing here? Sorry, Stel. Sorry, it just frustrates me.
It's fine. It's this. Oh, but we've been burnt by trying to go big. How did that work for us? No, we haven't been burnt. We were stupid. There's a difference. Ndombele was a 22-year-old player that had won nothing, that had a good season for his team in France. He was not a marquee signing. He was a very expensive risk. Davinson Sanchez for 47 million. He'd won nothing. Like we just plucked him out of Ajax. Again, a young player. Richarlison, 65 million. He was terrible at Watford. He did okay at Everton. He plays for the worst Brazilian team you've seen in 20 years. He's okay, right? We haven't been burnt. We've spent badly because we haven't signed a proven, established player. I give you names like Chiesa and Kvaratskhelia, league title winners, Euro winners. They are quality players, right? That's the difference. So if we go and buy them and then they fail, then you can say to me, you see what happens? Then I'll say, yeah, you're right. But when you sign a 22-year-old Ndombele that no one knew, and we had to go on YouTube, Davinson Sanchez, we had to go on YouTube. When I say Kvaratskhelia and Chiesa, you don't need to go on YouTube, people. You know that's the difference. Spurs they never got burnt in the past. They didn't know what they were doing, and you know what? I promise you, Brendan Johnson will be in that group that I've just mentioned the next year or two. I don't think he cuts it for Spurs. We can disagree and have our opinions. Let's be patient. I don't think he's going to cut it at Spurs, personally speaking.
Who, Brennan Johnson?
Yeah, I just don't think he's the right. He's got a lot of pace for me, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, look. Let's move on. Look, I'm going to go for another 8 minutes. Okay, just 8 more minutes. Look, I think people just everyone who thinks it's a negative chat. I think it's a positive chat. How do we get from here to there and win things is a positive, not a negative, right? How do we do it? How is a solution, not that we don't want it. Guys, listen. Man City in the cup. I'm refraining from any Emerson Royale conversation tonight because I can't believe some of the things I've been reading, by the way, online about people who wouldn't sell him for like 25 million or something. It baffles me. But Man City in the cup. Man City are flying. I'll start with you, Jack, because you're a level-headed young man that brings good balance, according to some people. This is very nice praise. Indeed. Yeah, and you do. Man City in the cup, they are on fire at the moment. Yeah. We've got some players back. Still not got maybe the main man that would hurt them more than anyone, which would be Son. What do you make of this game? They've got a poor record at our new ground, but they are on fire at the moment. So what do you make of this cup game?
Realistically, this is a huge game, like massive. Tottenham v Man City. Tottenham are playing well. We're being honest. We're happy considering the injuries. We're going to have players back like Van der Ven, like Romero. But Man City are flying. They have the quality. Realistically, we spoke how good they are. They've almost got 2 first 11s. They've got De Bruyne to add into that fold. But speaking about the past 5 seasons, they've lost 5 of their past 5 games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They haven't scored. And it's a mental battle. Even Guardiola said in a press conference that what he would like for the new year is to finally get a victory at Tottenham. So realistically, Tottenham have to go into this game with full confidence. My only worry is we spoke a lot tonight about the mentality. This is a cup game. This is a fourth round of the cup. They're reigning champions of the FA Cup. They're going to be at this game and be like, right, this is what we do, and we're going to show you we mean business this time around. But I do think this Tottenham team is capable of having an upset. We've played well this season with the likes of Bentancur, Kulusevski coming back into the fold. I do think Sonny is kind of that crucial key figurehead going to be missing. But I do think we can give them a good game. My main worry is they've got De Bruyne, they've got their Stardust, and we're kind of missing our talisman. I think it's going to be a great game of football. I've been saying all the time I think we're going to do them, but I am worried because it's the FA Cup, because they've done it before. We may fall short, but it's going to be a cracking game of football.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Iggy, we spoke on this briefly last week, but look, they don't have the greatest record at our ground. Does that mean anything this time around? They are on fire. We do give up a lot of chances. They score a lot of goals. They can be got out on the break. We like to break. There's a lot of elements to make this a very good game under the lights.
Do you know what? They definitely turned the corner since we last saw. They have undeniably turned the corner. Now they're getting their players are back. De Bruyne just turned the game on its head. That last game I saw against Newcastle, it was incredible in that last 20 minutes. They are undoubtedly the team to beat, even in the league. They can be got at. Newcastle got at them for a few balls over the top. Unfortunately for us, we don't have Isaac, which caused them a lot of problems with those balls over the top because he's got pace, he's got skill, and we don't have that as a forward. We can't. We have ways to get over, to do the similar sort of thing, using Werner's pace in the wide areas. But the thing is, for me, is we will need to take our chances. We will definitely need to take our chances. I don't think we're going to get a lot of those chances, but the ones that we do, we need to hurt them. We was a bit wasteful in our game against Man United in some situations. The good thing is that I believe Maddison. That's good news. Maddison.
He's big.
It looks like he's gonna make it for that game.
Would you start him?
Yeah,
100%. He's our talisman.
A 70% Maddison's better than any other player.
Listen, I don't know his
creativity wise, in a team that lacks creativity, he's huge.
I don't doubt any of that. I'm just saying
we're not in a position to do what they do with De Bruyne, play him in the last half hour.
Yeah, but hang on. My point is nothing to do with Maddison's ability. For me, I've said this all year. Maddison's the best footballer at Tottenham Hotspur. Maddison's the man that makes us tick. My question is, like we could talk all day long about defenders being missing, and this is why we can see goals and that. Watch us going forward without James Maddison. It's like last season again, if that makes sense. It's like we're missing that number 10. For me, I just worry. You've got Bentancur's just come back from being a year out. Still great player, but you can still see that the legs are taking their time to get there because that's what happens. You've got Romero and Van der Ven who have just come back from massive injuries. Now add to that spine James Maddison. Can you have 4 of your spine all just coming back from massive injuries against a team like Man City that have the ball for 70% of the game and make you chase and press and run? I'm just throwing it out there as a talk.
No, it's fair. It's fair. If we had a squad to do otherwise, I'd say yeah. But unfortunately, the best chance we have of beating them is with those guys in the team. Even at the condition they're in, they're still better than what we are. If we had Lo Celso available, if we had, I know Kulusevski will be back as well, so perhaps we'll play him in the 10. And I don't know.
Lads, all I'll say is we've been talking all night about how much it would mean to Tottenham to finally win a trophy. We beat City at the past 5 games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Maddison is that talisman who can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and kind of be that key figure. Him coming back, returning like Manchester City, I think they're the games he wants to be involved in. I think you've got.
He hasn't played in 2-3 months. That's the only concern for me.
That's my worry. That's my worry.
No risk, no reward. But I think he has to go in. No risk, no reward for me. Maddison's our best player. You've got to play him. That's my opinion.
But even with those players, it's still a magnitude of a task, man. Because these guys are like,
of course.
Honestly, I looked at them after the conversation we had about Man City last week. I looked at them against Newcastle and I was like, man, these lot are frightening. Although they give you a lot of opportunities to get in behind them, we don't have the Isaac, we don't have the Gordon, we don't have the Almirons. Those guys are like lightning quick in that final third, which is why those balls over the top are working. We have with Werner, I don't think Richarlison is the same sort of mould as Isaac. It certainly doesn't have his pace or finishing abilities. And on the right hand side, they got Almiron. You want to compare that with the Johnson that we currently got? Those are the situations we need to exploit because I feel that Man City won't only obviously going to try and beat us. Of course they will, but I think they want to make a statement beating us because they want.
That's my worry.
This is the thing that it's one game at White Hart Lane where it's starting to it's starting to bore the piss. You know what I mean? They we want to go out and beat them 2-3. Just fucking knock this. We ain't winning the White Hart Lane bollocks. You know this team have got egos, man. They've got egos and they want to make a point.
I need to be really clear. I'm not saying in any shape or form I never want James Maddison starting these massive games, right?
No, but it's a fair comment. It is a fair comment.
I'm just looking at it. We're playing them at their peak, like they're at their peak, right? When we played them before, they weren't at their peak. Now they're at their peak, and when they move that ball, when they keep that ball, I don't think sometimes we realise just how tiring it is chasing that ball for 90 minutes. Yeah. And I'm just wondering how much would James Maddison have him in? I'm not saying don't start him, by the way. It's just a discussion point as to if he's not 100% fit, it will play into City's hands because when they're bringing the ball out the back, he's not going to be able to press for very long. So I just think it's going to be interesting because otherwise, Man City already look like they've got more midfielders than any team they play against. When in reality they've got less because it's like literally Rodri on his own. But I don't know. I'm
feel more confident with Son and Maddison playing.
I feel more confident with Son playing.
From the small opportunities we might get, realistically, Man City are probably going to dominate the ball, even though we are a possession-based team. When we played them before, you need that moment of magic. You need to play that ball through to Kulusevski. If Johnson or Werner have got the space in behind, you want the guy to pass that ball. You want it to be James Maddison.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, Stel, just before we wrap up the show, I mean, you know, you said it before, and I don't think anyone here said we can't beat them. I just think that it feels like they haven't scored at our stadium. Records are made to be broken, and I don't really go along with all that kind of stuff. I feel like those things are to be beaten. What do you make of it, Stel?
We've never beaten City without in this kind of brilliant patch where we always beat them without either Kane or Son on the pitch. It's never happened. So if we're going to be realistic, having watched us against Burnley where I thought we were horrible and against Man United where we just couldn't finish chances, if we're being realistic, I think City win. But if I was to bet, all my money goes on Spurs to win. Because that's what this game does. I can't explain it. I can't give you logic. I can't give you footballing intelligence. But if I was to
these
bet,
things happen.
If I was to bet, put your money on Spurs to win. If I was to give you a non-betting response, I think City win it.
So let me get. Now I've
covered myself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you care. Yeah, exactly. I did tell you last week. I said that.
No.
But yeah, you covered.
No, do you know what?
Lose or draw.
All right. I'll put my neck out on the line.
Go for it.
Talk with chest. Let's go with chest.
I think Spurs nick it. Not that I think we're better than City.
Still think Spurs could nick it, Jack?
I think we nick it.
I'm like you say, if I'm going with my heart, I'm optimistic Jacko most of the time. So I'm going to say we're going to do them as well. Okay,
we're doing them. Iggy?
1 goal in it. I've said it last week. I'm sticking with it, man. 1 goal in it. 1-0, 2-1.
Which way?
To us.
Okay.
I think we'll win. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be one of them.
Lads, what do we reckon?
Okay. All right. So you've all gone with a win. All right. Well, there you go, guys. We're definitely through to the next round.
I can be deluded. I can be deluded.
I'm going to piss on chips. I think this is one game too many. I'm watching the way we're playing. I don't think we're playing well. I don't think we're creating loads of chances. I think that teams are getting at us, and I just think this is one game too many. At the moment, I'm seeing Marcus Rashford getting in behind time and time again and thinking, God, if that was someone better, then we're going to get buried. Look, I'm sorry. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be the villain. I just think this is one game too many for us. I really do.
So Savva, what are you going to say when it's 3-3 at half-time?
When it's 3-3 at half-time?
Yeah, Spurs City 3-3 at half-time. What are you going to say?
That I still think it's one game too many for us. You know, a game isn't 45 minutes long, right? It's like
I'm winding you up as in that's the most ridiculous thing, but that's probably the kind of thing that will happen. I
just think it's. Listen, I want to be wrong, but I don't think saying that we might lose to the champions of Europe and the best team in the country is a terribly negative thing to say. I just think at some point they're going to score goals past us. We look like conceding a lot at the moment. We look like conceding loads.
Romero and Van de Ven back though. We've got our best back four though, I guess, which is.
I just want to say, sorry. Change the record, mate. Every time we play City, you say the same thing. Literally last season they battered us 4-2. So when you're saying it doesn't happen, they literally battered us 4-2 about a year ago. Like I don't know what to say to you. They battered us 4-2 a year ago.
All I will say, playing at White Lane is always a massive advantage to us when we play them. This is a cup game; it's not a league game, so it all would be thrown at, like literally at the kitchen sink would be thrown out in this one-off game. And that's the other thing. I think it's a different. The game sets itself up differently to say if it was a League One. I don't know. I just think that I don't think we'd win it away if we was playing at City. But I think we recovering, having Maddison back in the squad, Kulusevski available. I think that massive creativity that was missing against Man United is back.
Great game.
You're right. You're right.
Is it back? Is it back?
Well, as in we got the creative players
think
we got
Lo Celso's
available.
back.
We didn't have it. We didn't
Who?
have Lo Celso's back as well.
Is Lo Celso creative? Oh, sorry, what
No,
are we going
I think
with this?
I'm going more Kulu.
He scored
He's
and
good.
created away to City this season, didn't he?
We didn't have any of them against Man United. But
Yeah.
I do agree with you in the defensive part of it. We looked vulnerable, and that
City are better than Spurs, 100%. We know
Look,
that.
look, I can't say this anymore. I want to be wrong. Listen, I've done this before when I've said Man City will beat us and I've been wrong. And the worst thing that happened is I was wrong and we won. It's fine. I can deal with it. I don't buy into all this childish.
It's not a bad
nonsense.
consolation.
It's not a bad consolation. I just think that what I'm not is I'm not this. I'm not just the back your team. Otherwise, it means I have to sit here every week and say we're winning 3-1, we're winning 2-0. I find that to be a really that's not how I judge games of football.
City were like that Newcastle, like I said, the last game they were ridiculous. They're
the best team in Europe.
Like, yeah, honestly, they look like they
just won the World Club
Cup.
They're like, this is an elite team. By the way, if Brennan Johnson or Timo Werner score a couple of goals and we win, I am so in the mud.
No, you're not. But this is the thing. This is the problem with.
No, I am. Everyone's going to come for me.
No. But this
I'll come for you Monday night.
Hang on. This is the problem. This is the problem with football opinions in 2023, 2024 even. Jesus, this is the problem. A player has a good game, and oh my God, you're in the mud. Listen, Brennan Johnson should be scoring goals. Like Brennan Johnson should be scoring goals. Richie gets 6 goals in 7 games or whatever after doing F all for 50 games, and you're in the mud. Not really. What's he done for 50 games? Like it's mad how the mindset goes. Listen, I want to lose to Man City, but at the moment they're the most informed team in Europe. I'm not making that up factually from the number of goals they score each week.
Savva, you just said you want to lose.
You want to lose to Man City?
I don't. No. Sorry, I don't want to lose. Sorry, I don't want to lose to Man City.
All right.
Someone's going to clip that. You know that.
I don't want to lose to Man City.
It's fine. It's late.
I'm just watching the way we're playing at the moment, and before every game at the moment, I'm seeing ridiculous scorelines being predicted every week. Every week, I'm seeing 4-0s. We did this show the other week, right? And everyone was talking about Man United. Alan Clark said it 3-0. This will be 3-0. But based on what? I'm seeing it now in the chat. Spurs 3, City 0. Based on what? Like, based on what are we winning 3-0 against the best team in the country? Like,
I'll tell you one thing though about this game, which will be interesting to see how it works. With our back four, our best back four and goalie there, I think it gives us a bit more stability and a bit more solidity against City. But what I'm interested most to see what we do is when Newcastle played City, they got in behind a few times, but what they had was some clinical finishers from Gordon and Isak. So I think we will get in behind a lot more because we're actually quite good at that. What will be interesting is when we do get in behind, because the City play a high line, they can be got at. It's what we do. And that's where I think the game will be swung. And with a cup game, the atmosphere, you know, the pressure to win, City in the back of their minds, we never win here. I just that for me will be interesting to see what happens. I'm not predicting anything, by the way, on this, because forget trying to predict this game. Although I've said I think we'll nick it, I think that'll be interesting what we do when we get in behind. Will we actually do something with it, or will it be the same old, same old?
Look, for me, if Sonny was playing, I think some of those balls over the top that like Newcastle played.
Yeah, no chances.
And you've got to remember though, like those Newcastle, if you actually watch that game, Newcastle had like 3 chances over the top. That was it. And we always talk about the chances that go against them, but Man City could have had about 8 or 9 goals in the first half. Look, listen, I just don't. I hate playing Man City. I hate it because they are that good. I hate saying that. So, look, it is.
Would
it
you
is
guys
what it
take a
is.
draw? Would you take a draw?
Yes.
No. Really?
Yeah.
For me, I think
I think we're going to lose. Of course, I'm going to take a draw.
No, I understand you, mate. I totally understand you. But I would just say, if we're going to do it, I think we're going to do it at home. I think at the Etihad, with their fans behind them, with the amount of times we've got one on them at the Etihad, I think they'll have us.
So Jack, you wouldn't take a draw then, because then the draw, the replays at their ground.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't take a draw.
So you're taking the win.
You wouldn't take it. Okay. Sorry.
We've got to do it. We've got to do it early, and I think that
But
would be our best.
what if we get more of our players back when we go to the Etihad, though?
No, because they're still one of the best teams in the world. Savva said, let's be honest, they won the treble last season for a reason. We our fans behind us with a bit of luck.
Chances at home, I agree.
I hear you. You got to listen. By the way, whatever I think is going to happen, we've got to win it if we're going to win it in normal time. Because, as I said, when we played Man City, if you look at it, when we play Man City and they're on fire, it's a very different outcome to when they're not on fire. So, like, if everyone remembers, when we beat them 1-0 last year, I don't know if anyone remembers that was the game that then kick-started their 32-game unbeaten run. So I remember that because Pep came out with his mind games and said, we can't win the league. My players aren't good enough to win, all that. And really, he's in the dressing room going, come on, guys, can we sort this out? And then they didn't lose till the last game of the season against Brentford, where they put out a B team and they won the treble. My worry is when you get them and they're in the mood, the game can be out of sight like that. That's my worry. And all I'm looking at is the number of chances that are going, like Bournemouth. How many chances did Bournemouth have? Like, how many chances? It doesn't even have to just be chances. How many times Brighton got in behind us? Bournemouth got in behind us. Everton got in behind us. Man United, who are, let's be honest, they're crap, over and over again got in behind us. That's what worries me, because Van de Ven and Romero aren't fit. Yes, they're back, but they're not fit. And this is the next level. This is next level stuff. This isn't Everton or Bournemouth. This isn't Man United. This is Man City. So if we win this, go and win the cup.
It would have a massive
we win this
effect
game.
I don't think we can get past Liverpool if we get Liverpool. But that's my only worry. I said that last week.
We'll worry about that when we're in the final.
We'll worry about that next time. But what I'm saying, for me, it would be a massive turning point for us if we can knock these lot out. Mass for the second half of the season.
100%. Mentality, everything.
I completely agree. I think if we beat them, we don't lose another game at home all season.
Love that. Could be true.
I truly believe that. I truly believe that.
Now we get maybe.
I truly believe that.
Sliding doors time, boys.
What big games have we got at home? We've got Arsenal, City.
That's not a big game.
City.
We've got Arsenal at home, City at home.
Chelsea away, but that's...
Chelsea away, United we've played already, Liverpool's away, Aston Villa's away, Newcastle.
We're talking about big games, not Arsenal.
Well, we got some away games.
So really, it's only so at home. It's only Arsenal, Brighton, and City. It's possible then.
I thought we was talking about big games. Are you mentioning Arsenal?
There you go. Beat City. I'm predicting it. Beat City. We don't lose another home game all season. Just saying. Anyway, apologies if that makes me not a real fan. We must end. Sorry, Jack, I've gone over by a few minutes. I did promise you we'd end. I know, terrible. Guys and girls, please smash that subscribe button. It's got quite quiet on that front. We are going to finish the show in 60 seconds. 101 man has come in and said, no Sonny, no win. City will exploit our space. No Sonny, no win. I mean, it will be a real statement if we can win without Sonny.
The Sonny's rubbish. What are we talking about? Sonny's rubbish. The fact
sounds like a Bob Marley song.
Sonny's rubbish.
Sonny, no win.
No, but think about it. Like, Sonny's rubbish. Why do we need Sonny to win a game?
Yeah. Again, but I listen. I don't know if it's clinical, but without Son, I do wonder where the clinical nature is going to come from. And big up to Orox Beats, who has said we have so much money we can spend. 300 million is not even close to FFP. So why aren't we ever spending on these star players? Levy is a mug. Orox, love you to bits, man. Thank you so much for that. I'm not going to open up that can of worms with 30 seconds of the show to go. Look, please, everybody's link is in the bio of the show. Tottenham away for Iggy and for Stel. Please go and subscribe to Jack as well as Spurs related. Listen, I think you can see, great guy, really good opinions, level-headed, and he's needed in between myself and Stel. So thank you, Jack, for coming on. Thank you, Iggy. Thanks, Stel. Hoping I'm wrong, hoping you lot are right. We'll see this weekend. Take care, everybody. Please please smash the subscribe button. And thank you to absolutely everyone in the chat. See you soon. And as always, come on.
Spurs.
Spurs.